Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Please attention. Karmapa will be here.
Very good evening. I hope all of you are well. Yes, you can hear me, right? Yes. Okay. So, I hope the day, the the day went well. Hopefully, all of you had good exchanges among yourselves, and yes, and that most importantly the Buddha Dharma that you all or the lectures that you have attended, and then in between the formal practices that you were able to do during these past few days were fruitful, I hope, because normally, of course, many of you don't get this much of time, opportunity to practice. Obviously, you have very pressing matters, of course, when you're back home with your profession and family duties that you have to take up. So, yes, I really hope that you are making the best use of this time here. And yes, and then now, once again, we are here to focus a little bit, or use a little bit of our time to focus on Chenrezig, and see and see how it reacts, or how we react to it. Yes, so it's a surprise. Yes, always. So yes, and then hello to everyone who are viewing as well. Yes. So yesterday, at least for me, I thought you all raised some really good questions, I thought. Well, at least to me. And because if you ask questions, at my level, then of course I have some thing or two to say, But if you go too high, then I cannot catch it. Yes. So therefore, yes, would you have some thing or two to share? Could be helpful. Otherwise, of course, we can dive right into the practice. I mean, in the past few days, I think I've said the things that, well, more or less what I wanted to say about the practice, and where I feel that it makes sense to me. Some of you may be advanced, some of you may be just beginning, so of course it may not be the same, in terms of how I've felt or experienced. So therefore, there isn't that many more to say. But of course, during the day, from the morning till yes, you had a question yesterday. I remember. Yes. Yes. So yes, from my side, I think I've said more or less what I thought I wanted to say. But there could be a few things here there. the lady there, yes.
Thank you, dearest Karmapa, for sharing your precious thoughts throughout the last days, especially the ones on our long path from island to island and on the completion phase and on the last exhale. And my question is, what's after the last exhale? I think some of us have the POVA transmission, and I wanted to ask how much we can rely on that one, that it will guide us like an autopilot from the last exhale through the liberation phase to Devashin.
Okay. Well, what happens after exhale is quite interesting, actually. Yeah. There is the inhalation. But of course, I wouldn't know how to put Devachin in this regard, or well, the way I put it right now. But let's say right now, yes, something. Okay. Or currently speaking, or the mood we are in, let's say, is that the best. What we are used to right now is, let's say, breathing, and or switching on and off or something. 0, 1, yes, no, black, white, right, left. Maybe we are very intrigued by that, like a chicken. So therefore, yes, I think the idea of Devachin is something like, since we are intrigued, then how can we make that experience, I don't know, more pleasant, less confusing? Nevertheless, it is still part of that cycle, one could say, but make it a little bit more pleasant, yes? So maybe it's something like that. I'm sure many of you have read about the description of Devachin, or probably more than the description in terms of, maybe talking about the description of Devachin, then it kind of implies where we are in, And so it is said that I think, birth and death is not completely, out of the window, There is still an idea of birth there. There is still an idea of death there, but maybe it is not as grim as how we would associate it here right now, So yes, we could gather the right conditions, so that we will inhale or take rebirth there, in the Sukhavati. It's very much possible. We need to make sure that the right preparation, goes ahead. Yes. then it's possible, yes. Yes, I did say some things about completion, of course. Often it is a very big subject, yes. And all I was trying to do was just try to simplify that. Yeah. Because Buddhism is, for example, the term completion, or in Tibetan Dzogrim, it may sound, if you force it, sound a little bit closer to a finale, the great end, the end of times or whatnot. We have all kinds of ideas, yes. And so I'm not quite sure if it really, if the Dzogrim or completion path, or the completion process, or yes, is really referring to that. Yeah. Yet at the same time, breathing, I thought doesn't really talk about a finale, whether it is the breath is given by a divine being, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Breath, or I don't know, or death as in the last exhale or something. It's not, in Buddhism, I think in general, it's not too keen or interested even on anything that has to do with the finale, actually. The term completion is there, of course, I think, to kind of satisfy that part of our habit, where we feel that I think there is an end, and so maybe on some occasions, but often in general, Buddhism doesn't really focus on too many radical methods, and so therefore just focuses on just going along with our emotions, just not alone. And so therefore we think this is important, that is important, and just Buddhism just nods along, It's not a real saying yes, a stark saying yes, but just nodding along. And so, yes, I think breathing, or all these sort of aspects that we can link ourselves to are just, I think, well, okay, let's put it this way. I myself find that aspect very interesting, because it's both very essential, important, yet at the same time it's one of those things that occurs every day, and we will not, reward ourselves or someone, just because someone breathed, it's just one of those things that happens day in, day out, and completely goes unnoticed. Right, for example, right here, right now, we are listening, I'm saying something, you are listening to it, we are sitting here doing all sorts of things, and the breathing just is taking place, without notice. And but of course, if we focus, there is a certain rhythm we can catch, of course. Rhythm of, if you're healthy, how much we should breathe. If you're not, then accordingly. And of course, if physically or clinically if the physical body is no more, and then we can also say something that is not breathing or something, or that's the end, But then, of course, it enters into a different rhythm. But I don't want to go too far into that, because then it becomes too mystical. But basically, there are intervals in between. How long those intervals, or how long we can hold a breath, of course, we can. Those are interesting things to focus on. Yes. But bottom line is just we try to recognize those basic, simple, passive rhythms, I think. Yeah. And we put very good labels, grand labels, so that we catch attention, or I catch my attention, so that it's it may still not be something worthy to reward. Well, it doesn't require reward, of course, but nevertheless something, not to say fascinating, but very, very amazing that this is happening. And how many times we have breathed, wow, it's unbelievable, And something like that, boring, yes. Completion. There are volumes, lineages, great lineages that talks about the completion. And of course, according to how we say, the Great Seal, yes. According to that method, of course, it takes a different take, of course. But nevertheless, it's just, I think, to capture our attention, I think. So that, because of course, our attention is kind of diverted elsewhere, yes, often. Into, I don't know, maybe it's good, into good things, beneficial things, interesting things, but not really, really worthy enough to awake us. So in this case, focusing on something really ordinary, really, really ordinary. Breathing doesn't require philosophy, breathing doesn't require religion, breathing doesn't require anything at all. Yes. And so it's so classic or so basic. Yes. Anyway, crazy thoughts are entering in my mind, of course. But I resisted. So, yes, very basic. And that kind of good boredom, is quite enlightening, I think. Yeah. Because it's not newsworthy from any angle. Yes. Yet through that medium, we can relate to almost everything and anything. And then it has the ability to break all kinds of barriers, Right now we have all kinds of barriers about, I don't know, who we are, or who we were, or who we will become, more so nowadays than, I guess, any time. I don't know. But whatever be it, it does help break barriers, yes. So to break very, very strong, formidable barriers, the solution is not to create another formidable you know, I don't know who used those words in English. What is it? Immovable objects, unstoppable force or something, you know. So it will become a stalemate, you know. Nothing will happen. Right? But if you want something to happen, then I think it's these practices, I think. Simple, you know, basic, and it breaks all those barriers. And that tension and that awkwardness is all gone. You know? The ice is broken. So, yeah, maybe that's completion, I don't know, yeah. There is something, well anyway, this is how I feel. I don't know if I answered your question. I went a little bit haywire, but yeah.
Partly, but thank you anyway. I will listen to it again and reflect on it, okay? It was a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes. And then after that, I think there was...
Кармапа, что значит принимать истинное прибежище по-настоящему? Translate?
Doesn't matter, the question, yes.
Okay. What does true refuge mean? And how to take it truly?
Okay. Well, it's a very good question, of course. I think the term, well, I think I said it before, actually, I think, but nevertheless, the term refuge, whether it's the English term or the Tibetan term, Gyapndro or Gyapsundroa, it's again one of those things that, one of those terms, you know, that is part of nodding along, you know. Meaning that it's like saying, I don't know, you are my friend, you know. And Buddhism just says, okay, you know. And then, or the opposite, you are my enemy. You know, it's something like that, I think. So, ultimately, or essentially, or in essence, there is no real need to take refuge, of course. You know? But habits, prior to habit, or where habit came from, obviously from nowhere. And then out of nowhere, because it's nowhere, then it's easy to create anything. You know? And so therefore, it's also easy to create a habit also. And if you create that habit, and then suddenly to a point where that habit is too strong, you know. And so therefore then now I feel that I need a way out of this habit. This has become bigger than life, you know. And so therefore then we basically project, yes. Of course, let's go in a more traditional way. What is it? First is the idea of self or me, you know, just basically me. In Tibetan it says nga. I forgot. or I don't know what is the Sanskrit term for nga or me. Yud yidina. It's a kind of picture nga lejakitul. Yeah. Tani yorba. Tanda rang nga tanga pekil tenisi yorba. Tinsu tanda the lejakitul juna manzu tani kama picture dangru.
Aham.
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 Yes. So yeah, yes. Pending. Yes. Anyway, first it begins from there, the idea of me. In this case, it's really direct. Doesn't just generalize by saying self, but in this case, me. And from there, then the rest comes, which basically is summarized into mine, me and mine. And so, yes. Well, why was I saying all this? Yes, refuge, yes. Anyway, it'll come back to me. I will just go a little bit further, okay? So, me, mine, no, just before that I was saying something. I said I will say something more. I will go with the traditional way. What did I say before the traditional way? Habit, yes. So, yes, yes. I said that habit, and prior to habit, well, the base in terms of that nowhere, of voidness. So, yes, that self, that me, we create a habit of that, habit of calling anything, saying red, I don't know, it's as simple as saying red, 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 red. And the more we repeat, the more it becomes real, let's say, yes. And so therefore, that's how it, I think, goes on. But after some time, it's too much, this me is too much. And so therefore, obviously, we become allergic to it, and we would like to look for an antidote or a remedy or something. Yes? And so therefore, then naturally, similar to see me, and afterwards mine, similarly, then first that habit, then an antidote. It naturally comes. Yeah? So similar, refuge. So it's that looking for that, seeking support from that antidote. Yeah? And so it's a very interesting vehicle, of course. Again, it's very basic, yes. It doesn't make us wander too far. We're just simply looking for help, and that's it. Yeah. But for those of us maybe who are maybe very, very intellectual, or have a particular habit of or habit of being intrigued by sarcasm or of some sort, yes, then refuge can mean, so that's the thing, I think. That's what we have to break through in a way, yes. So therefore, yes, I think that one of the most, by default, the idea of refuge, I think, is coming from this human condition. Yes. For example, if you are born in Dewachen, I think that it just doesn't create that feeling of refuge, of seeking for refuge. Yeah. Because you have no notion of father or mother or father figures or mother figures. It's just says you're born magically. Yes. So therefore, there is that dependency is much less. Yes. Here we have very strong dependency. Yes. And so therefore, that figure is so sort of, it's in our one could say DNA. Yes. So yes, we have to kind of not really break through. It's not a must that we have to break through, but it's something to think about. Yeah. Why? Because otherwise it's possible that then we could just wrap ourselves up once again. Then we will need a refuge from refuge. And that will be another problem. Yeah. So instead of going through that hassle, then yes, we try to understand that there is a reason why we feel that we need to have some form of support, refuge. Yet at the same time, there is no double meaning there, So you see, free of that sarcasm. And it's just, I mean, it's kind of an acceptance, of oneself, that I got myself into this mess, and then now I want to get out of it. Yeah. Simple. Yeah. But it's not putting oneself down at all. So again, no sarcasm. Yeah. So it's just accepting that very simple fact. Yeah. And so, but of course the habit is strong, yes? This me, yeah, this habit is very strong. And then hopefully a spiritual friend who has also undergone the same experience, and so understands that, okay, I've been there too, So then if you ask that spiritual friend to say, can you help me work on this, And then if there is, I don't know, good understanding, then that friend may accept that offer. And will play the role. It's like role play, and play the role of a friend. Yes. Play the role of a mirror, I don't know. Play the role of, well, in short, a friend. Yes. And then, therefore, then interact accordingly. Yes. So yes, refuge practice itself, it can only take place if there is another, if there is someone else. If we are just alone on this planet, then we don't need to take refuge. There's no point at all. So yes, refuge is, the idea of refuge is coming from that feeling, Like you see kids at some point when they know how to walk, they want to be a little bit independent, so they take maybe 7, 10 paces. But 8, 9, 10, then they turn back, say, or mama or something, yes, they come back, yes. So that habit of dependency is very strong from that moment. So therefore, later on, when we are trying to deal with our emotions or work with our emotions, we are still thinking out of that habit, So therefore, refuge sometimes can mean a little bit negative, simply because of that habit. And on top of it, if you are too intellectual, then there is that sarcasm as well. So therefore, those are things we have to break away. Yeah. If you are able to do that, then refuge can be very healthy. Yes. It's really opening up, which normally we wouldn't want to do. Why should we open up? Yes. No point. The moment you open up, you've given away your freedom, sort of thing. Yes. So therefore, it takes great courage to open up. Yes. Tibetan culture is very good at at keeping that independence, not opening up. Well, it's what did that lead to? I don't know. Anyway, but of course, generally speaking, again, open up. Again, if you go about it in a very emotional way, again, it's pointless. Yes, it doesn't mean that you have to be just completely transparent. I mean, there are those. Pardon me for saying, but toilets that are made of glass. Yes, not that kind of transparency. Yeah. Some, how to say, I don't know. some space is required. Yes, but if you can open up with or from being too intellectual or too emotional, yes, I think probably that's what it means to take refuge, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah, what is refuge? What is refuge? The common interpretation is to say it's a way to seek support in order to wake up. Yeah, that's it. Because otherwise, this habit is comparable to dreams. Because I think they cannot be dream. Let's say dream is kind of interdependent with what we do every day, according to our daily habits. And then that habit, like the tail of a gecko or a lizard, even if it, for safety, it drops the tail, it still wiggles, yes. Something like that, So physically we are almost dead, just completely gone. But the habit just still wiggles, So, yes, habit is one of the most powerful things. Yeah. So therefore now we want to break free from these habits. And so seeking refuge, I think it really, really means that. Yeah. I think in a more classical time, taking refuge maybe was much simpler. Yeah. Maybe it just simply meant I don't want to be hungry, I don't want to be sick, I don't want to be cold, and I want to have good crops or something, I don't know, something like that. Then as time goes by, or as the conditioned world transforms, or I don't know, not really develop, but as it evolves, then of course the demands or the purpose of seeking for refuge also slowly changes. But despite of all that, I think at the core of it is really, one really wishes to wake up. So, yes, that's what I can say. Was there another purpose why you asked that question? Okay.
Yesterday he heard from somebody she tried to take refuge truly, and now she just try to understand what does it mean.
To take refuge truly, you said? Okay. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, then there was some.
Karmapa, thanks for teaching. Is it possible in the future, after the course, to give Shine and Vipassana for several days to deepen and understand what we are getting here?
I think that aspect of the teaching is taking place during this course itself, no? I thought so, Shine Langtong. Especially by Drupanidam or who, yes. Yes.
I mean, do meditation during the 1 to 3 days.
You mean after the course? Or,
Yes.
well, I don't quite know what to say, but yes, okay, individually, yes. Individually you can, if time and other conditions allow, yes, you can take up time to focus further on the practice of Shinye Langtong or yes, Shamatha and Vipassana, yes. Yes, you can. It will be very, very, very helpful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So first of all, dear Karmapa, thank you for this course and everything that's going on. I have a very simple question, and I mean, it's a question that's probably been asked many times over, and you've probably answered many times over already, but you know, for some reason it's something that kind of bothers me still. And the question is about anger and the fact that, you know, it is said sometimes that when you observe your mind, you can kind of see if when the disturbing emotion appears and kind of try to somehow tackle it, and even if not allow it to dissolve, then maybe at least do some damage control. But then in my experience, from time to time, what happens is that it's like the bomb is planted before I know it. And then I only notice, already when it's too late and the kind of explosion is taking place. And the explosion doesn't even mean that, like something very dramatic, just in my, like on the, let's say, inner level. Right. I just feel I'm being poisoned by it. So just a general kind request, if you could say anything to that, and that's all I wanted to ask. Thank you very much.
So the point is basically anger and its management.
Yeah, I guess, yes. Yes, I guess so.
Okay. Yes. In Buddhism, there are those terms like that if you translate it into English, it will more or less sound like something like good, kind, generous, compassionate, and so on. And I think those are interesting things to focus on. Yeah. Because I think anger, although yes, we of course we would like to be able to forecast when this anger is going to come, like the weather, let's say, like a weather forecast. It would be nice if you could forecast. Who knows? Maybe one day we will invent a very good app. Now that we have good enough AI technology, most of our habitual patterns are being recorded, through the great intricate algorithm. Is it? I hope I'm saying that right. So who knows? Maybe at some point we will be able to forecast exactly when anger is going to, or when I'm going to be angry, in short. But I think even for those algorithm technologies or whatever, even for them to really calculate, it must be interesting also, actually. Actually, for those programmers, it must be very interesting. Because even they would realize that you would need to consider many other things that are not supposed to be almost in any way, sometimes remotely linked to anger, other things. It can be ice cream, I don't know. Or the covers of Kit Kat that is still flying off on the surface of the moon, left by the astronauts or something, So just things that are that could hardly link or relate, And this algorithm thing must be trying to actually put together all of those, because only that way you can calculate, yes. when something is going to happen or not. Yeah. So it's not really pure gamble, let's say, you know. So same thing with our anger, I think. And that's why I think Buddhism is, once again, very interesting, because it talks about various other factors, you know. In order to discuss anger, it talks about all the other emotions. Good emotions, bad emotions, everything. Because if it's just anger alone, like I said earlier, if one is the only person standing on this planet, then it's a very different story, you know. The whole context changes. Similarly, if it's just anger alone and there are no other, we have sterilized all other emotions, let's say, then again it would be a very strange condition. Yeah. So therefore, to get into that anger or to manage it, let's say, we will have to consider all the other things. Yeah. And so therefore it kind of makes sense that it says that there's nothing that a Bodhisattva would learn, or a Bodhisattva would learn anything, or would immerse oneself in anything, because just to work or manage that anger, it needs to, or I said it, but yeah, let's say he, she, one needs to be quite well versed with, or quite well acquainted with all the other emotions. Yeah. And then maybe we can kind of, well, so-called forecast, you know, and then be more prepared or something. But of course, that's just very, well, not to say ordinary, but that's more like playing games, yes. So, yes, being good, the reason why I said that earlier is because, yes, generally being kind, being good, of course, there's nothing like it, yes. Both the, how to say, temporal world and the spiritual world, you know, respects that and praises that, you know, to be kind, to be good, and so on. But again, everything in moderation, one could say. Maybe it's not the perfect term here. Because if we overshoot, or if we go overboard, yes, and trying to be too good, then that could be the cause, one of the causes for anger. Because one tried so hard, one tried too much to be good, you know, too kind. And so, again, at some point, people don't want to be around people that are too nice, you know. it's you know. So therefore, yes, that could be one of the ingredients for anger. Yeah. So Chenrezig, compassion, yes, it's about being kind, of course. Yes. But it's like trying to be compassionate yet very skillful. Yes. One can be. There's nothing wrong with being too nice, of course, but you don't want to make that too obvious, you know. Yeah. Otherwise, then people get the wrong idea sometimes. So therefore, yes, one can be kind, extremely kind, compassionate, yet at the same time just make sure that it's not too overwhelming for the other. Because it could imply that you're too good to be true, you know. And I cannot measure myself up to you, you know, or something of that sort. And actually, you kill every hope that they have in themselves. um, and that was not the point, you know. So if that happens, then again, back to you know, anger, you know. So yes, it's sort of a fine line, yeah, fine line. So therefore, yes, often if he just out of that, not to say curiosity, but out of the wish that one wants to be better at one's practice or to improve oneself better as a person or something, one could ask the spiritual friend, let's say, in terms of where am I, you know, or am I there yet or something, yes. And so therefore, if the answer is something like, yeah, you know, I think it's nothing, that's not a cause for, how to say, for, I don't know, losing one's enthusiasm or something. Yeah. Because what we want is, I mean, at the back of one's mind, one knows that one shouldn't overdo, basically. Yeah. Yes, we may have, as we say, eons and eons to go to achieve awakening or something. So what, you know? Because we are not really looking for that finale. Yes. And I think that's what is so interesting about the Bodhisattva way. Yes. In terms of attitude, there's a traditional term for it. I think it's something like the attitude of a shepherd. Okay, that might sound a little bit too religious, you know. But yes, but it's a little bit different, yes, of course. So, meaning that until all sentient being is liberated, I don't want to be enlightened. You know? I don't want to be liberated. It sounds almost impossible, you know. It sounds almost idiotic in a way. Yes. I mean, logically, well, if you're not enlightened, then how can you save others? You know. Anyway, but the attitude, you know, the attitude is like that, and there are that kind of variations of attitudes or aspirations. Sometimes it's known. So, yes, it's just or Bodhisattvas of that kind are not bothered about the finale, you know, completion. I don't know. So it's not worry about it. It's just I'm very concerned with what's happening now. Yeah. And so therefore, it doesn't try to be, well, like I said, too good or too nice or too rough or too much in haste or anything like that. You know, it just goes on. Yeah. Certain eons it'll take for me, certain eons for that, certain eons for those. Doesn't matter. Just goes on and on and on. So there's something we can learn from there, even though it might sound too fantastical, yeah, maybe through that, maybe we can manage, I don't know, this particular energy called anger. Okay. Then we have the last one.
Dear Karmapa, I have a question regarding the practice of Chenrezig sadhana.
Yes.
What will you advise us in our daily routine? Is it better to start with the Chenrezig practice in the morning when we wake up?
Yeah.
Then we generate the bodhicitta, and then after we go to our daily activities.
Yes.
Is it better to practice at night? And also another question, Lama Jigme Rinpoche in Valdero Institute advised us to open the practice in the morning until the dissolution, then go to our daily practices, and then conclude and dedicate our journey and our good behavior. So what would you advise me in the daily routine, please?
So the dedication and everything.
Is it better to practice in the morning, in the evening, or we can also open the practice until the dissolution, then go to our everyday life, and then do the other part until the dedication? What is your advice about the practice?
Okay.
Please.
Sure. It's perfectly fine. Yes. I mean, individually, once we have the know-how of how our practice works, yes, or how these sadhanas work, how these sadhanas work, what are each of the segments, what are the metaphors, what it means, each segment, then yes, you can later on kind of play with it, yes, provided that it's one could say approved or advised by one's spiritual friend. Yes, it's possible. Morning, afternoon, evening, doesn't matter. Yes, the point is, I think, at the end of the day, is to keep it regular. Yeah. So meaning not too much, no one's asking us to practice over the top. Yet at the same time, of course, to have long gaps is also not so good. Yeah. So therefore, to really practice so intensively for a certain period and then have long gaps in between, it's not so healthy. That's like a crash diet. So it's just like, I think we can just use basically every dietitian's method, regular, not too much. Yes, but of course, if you can follow a little bit of our, not the obese habits, but if you can be a little bit hungry when it comes to the practice, of course, it's always good. But the overall theme, I think, to practice regularly, yes, every day, whether it's a good day or a bad day, that's the main thing, I think. So it's not like, oh, today is a nice day, let's meditate, today, oh, look at the weather, this happened, that happened, and then, it's that's not the way to do it, I think. Yeah. So morning, evening, afternoon, doesn't matter. You would know, or each one of us would know in terms of what is our routine like, yes, where we have the more time. And then we work around it so that it's regular. Yeah. And then it will slowly aggregate, yeah, one by one. And before we know it, we would have replaced certain old habits with new ones. Yes. And that's what we are quite interested in. Yes. Even though we are trying to get rid of habits altogether, but the skillful way of getting rid of old habits is to replace them with new ones. And those new ones, as they become stronger and stronger, then it will replace the other. And once the replacement is complete, the new habit will have no more reason to survive or to live. That's when it's gone. Okay, a last question then.
Hola, Lama.
Hola.
Okay, I want to share with you, and of course I have a question. So, like, I am right now in my diamond mind practice, and maybe if I continue like I've been doing, maybe in 6 months I'm finished. But 6 weeks ago, I did 15 hours. Was fantastic when I'm finished, but but so 20 here, yeah, 22 malas cost me 15 hours. But after that, I don't know what happened, but I can figure out the time to continue to practice until now. This morning I did finally one mala, and I start to feel like not sick because I don't like more that word, but I feel so. So yes, just it's interesting thing. So why? Why does this happen? I did too much.
Oh no. Maybe one of the beads are missing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like I have the question, but I wanted to share it because I think it's very
No,
motivation.
yes.
But yes, of course, I'm purified. I am purifying. But yes, but every day is like, but why? All I start to be busy. All this is week. Like, I'm tired, and then I say, no, I need to practice. But no, I'm falling asleep.
No worries. You can try again. Yes. Okay. Very well. Then now we focus on the practice of Chenrezig. Remember of course, in a traditional way where we say the blessing of the lineage, so therefore it means, in short, we don't know too much about Vajradhara, we don't know too much about Tilo, Naro, Marpa, Mila, we don't know. But there are a very, dearest and respectable and caring spiritual friends that we can think of, yes, in this life. So, for example, quite a number of you must have known, for example, late Shamarimbache. Now, only one or two in this hall would remember his predecessor. But nevertheless, quite close, you can relate and reflect a little bit closer to them, yes. And so therefore, thinking of them, the moment we say of Vajradhara, if you can think of them, then it will be very beneficial. Yes, there could be very many, although in terms of appearance, you know, a great many teachers nowadays have, well, dissolved themselves. And so, appearance-wise, yes, there are few, and fewer in a way also. But to say, at the background, of course, bodhisattvas are everywhere. And so in that way, we don't have to feel totally alone, yes. But nevertheless, for the sake of our practice, for the sake of our awakening, then it is good to focus on spiritual friends that we have a connection with, that we know, yet not too close, you know. Meaning they are living, breathing ones right now, you know. But if you focus on them too much, it can be sometimes good, sometimes a little bit strange. Yes. So I'm not saying it's like you know, the thing about great artists. You know, the moment they are gone, then their works become very expensive. I'm not really saying in that manner, but there is something there. And so therefore, spiritual friends who we know, or who we have one way or directly or indirectly we have some connection with, who are, how to say, without doubt, without dispute, is understood and accepted by everyone, let's say. Now there we have no room for doubt, you know. Whereas, since we are both living and breathing, if you are too far away from each other, not so good. If you are too close, not so good, you know. And so therefore, in order to manage that kind of thing, there is something about focusing on those who are maybe not necessarily physically present, you know. Yeah. So I don't know how you heard that, or if I'm saying it right, but it's a fine line. Yeah. And so therefore, in short, what I'm saying is focus on the 14 Shamarpa and the 16 Karmapa. Simple, understandable, yeah? And then that is your Vajradhara, very simple. Yeah. And then from there, draw all the inspiration, blessings, and then you generate or take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, generate bodhicitta for the sake of all sentient beings, and then focus on the Chenrezig. Yeah. Now, how to do that, I think I explained the past few days in some length. So do it accordingly, yes. And then during the recitation, just focus on, as it is shown in the text, the radiation of the light. And then when it comes towards the end, when it comes to the dedication, either with your knowledge or without your knowledge, you would have accumulated immense merit. Yeah. That goes without saying. Simply because how you prepared for that, yes. It's like saying it's not really about being a good cook. At the end, towards the end, or in essence, first things first. It's the ingredient, you know. So if the ingredient is good, if it's, you know, from good quality, it takes care of the rest, you know. So for example, if you have really good quality mushrooms, then even if it's just plain simple button mushrooms, you don't need any other ingredients. No, you don't even need salt or pepper. Yes, you just provide the right kind of heat to it, and it will be a very, very tasty morsel, you know. So, yes, the ingredient, the quality is none other than that Vajradhara, yeah, that spiritual friend. So, therefore, focus on them. I mean, if you really want to go have a full course or something, individually, in your own, within your own comfort zone, then when it comes to the praise prayer of the, or in short, that Dorje Chantoma, then you may even begin a Guru Yoga practice there, just so that it's very comprehensive and full, and then go to Chenrezig, I mean, once you know the formula, you can, play quite well, yeah, because you more or less have the know-how, what each of these segments mean. And then you have very good ingredients. Yeah. Then from there, refuge, well, depends on our emotion. And bodhicitta, yes, similar. We don't know what kind of attitude or aspiration we have. We don't know. We could be calling ourselves bodhisattvas or being on that path, but at the end of the day, seeking for only one's own liberation, then it's just a namesake. So therefore, those are things to clarify here, there, And then when it comes to the actual practice, visualization is important, yes. It is important. Yeah. And I've said it in the past, most of us think that I just cannot visualize, but that's really not true at all, I think, unless someone proves me wrong. Because if someone asks you about something, if you can remember, unless you have dementia, or amnesia, is it? I don't know. Yeah, memory problems, If you can remember, if you know, if you can remember history, or if you can remember time or schedule or something, it's a given that you can visualize actually. Yeah, it's just that you may not feel comfortable to really sort of imagine in a very particular way, Yeah. So now, if someone is, I don't know, an artist, maybe better, because for an artist, they really have to focus on a lot on abstract things, But if you can remember, already we can visualize, yeah. So therefore, it's not that we cannot visualize. So don't put yourself down. You can, just that you may not see it so clearly, the way it's described. So therefore, that'll take some time. And you can simplify it, If you cannot see a Chenrezig above your head, just focus a white ball on top of your head. If it's practical, maybe the size of a ping pong ball, And then you can visualize a little bit bigger, maybe a volleyball, then maybe a football, basketball, then slowly a yoga ball, later the size of a, gas balloon, And simple shape, simple shape. So like that, you visualize, and then you let it go on. Yeah. And the mantra, there is a benefit of hearing the mantra, of course, and also there are also benefits about silent recitation also. Yeah. But here I would just focus mainly on the audible recitation. So with melody or without melody, because sound again is another amazing universe, you know. It's a miracle that we can synchronize the world of sound and the world of sight. You know. What if they were constantly either one is ahead of the other? You know, it would be a very strange world. Yes. Anyway, through that audible sound, which initially sounds like as if it has a meaning, yes, of course, each syllable, Om, Ma, Ni, Ba, Me, Hong, there are immense descriptions on what each of those mean, yes. So we are very rich in that, you know. But on the other hand, does it always have to have meaning? No. Yes, it's just a sound. It's just a certain pattern of noise. That's it. But then, of course, I'm not trying to make us nerds by now testing out if you keep chanting that mantra next to, I don't know, water or water crystals, what kind of water crystals, you know, will shape, and is that the shape of compassion or something, you know. I'm not discrediting anyone's work, but nevertheless, that's just a time pass, good time pass. It's just like the visualization, sound is the same thing. If you hear at the background, like as we say, white noise, you know, like the sound of a traffic jam or something, and if that white noise are all kinds of hurtful, if you can put a list of all the hateful words, you know, all the nasty words, you know, that we can ever think of, and then recite them all in one, you know, and repeat it again and again and again, you know, and turn it into a white noise, let's say, you know. After some time, it will mean nothing. Yeah. So that is something, you know, that says something, yes. If anything can become, you know, a white noise or a background noise, then again that's what we would say power in a way, you know. Anyway, so in short, meaninglessness, I think, probably is the main theme here in terms of that noise, you know. It really doesn't signify really like a secret code or a cheat code or something. I used to love cheat code, particularly when I was playing Doom 1 and Doom 2, you know. God mode was the best. I forgot the code now. I started with I. It was like 4. Huh? Yes. Oh, no. I think that was that for Doom? Okay. Good. Yes. So, yes, it's really not a real secret code. Instead, first of all, praise to a point where it almost feels like it's a code, you know. But then once again, bring it down all the way, rock bottom, till it's completely meaningless. Yeah. Then see how we will react to that. Yeah. Are we sad because it meant nothing at all? Or are we kind of relieved that actually didn't mean anything at all? You never know. Yeah. So, yes, the recitation is in short important, and then the rest, I think, I don't have to repeat again. I think it's quite simple. Dedication, I think I explained a little bit here, there. So, let go of everything. Yeah, every merit we have accumulated, no matter how difficult it was for me to accumulate these merits, because of my living condition, my lifestyle, it was so difficult to come up with these merits. But it's really difficult to let go. But so yeah, in this case, no doubt, just completely let go. And this is the secret, I think, or part of the secret, that if you get into a good habit of doing this, then if this particular current, as we say, the current life or this life, should it dissolve through accidents or through other causes, we will have a good habit, to not to cling to it, and that we will be able to let it go also. More peaceful or more courageous than we normally would be able to, let's say. So therefore, there is benefit in that. So with that in mind, then for the sake of others, meaning others who may be in a similar state, like where I am, let's say, where I'm dreaming, whether it's pleasant dream, whether there are pleasant dreams or unpleasant dreams, nevertheless, dreams are dreams, and so there could be many others who may not be dreaming so pleasantly, and so for their sake, then we do this.
Dorje chan chen de lo na ro da ma ba me lo chen jen ga bo ba de so shen ja kun ken kar ma ba che shi chon jen jun bo jen nan jen dan cai sun bo den du bo so sa lai chan jan che lai ngai nhà mình đông gần đông bộ gần giờ là số vấn đề số gần giờ là mà nằm giờ bận giờ nói nằm đời giờ lo Chen loi gom je gong brai song ba xin. Se nor gon lai cha xian men ba dang. Se dan chen ben gom chen la. Yen goi xian bai men brai chen je lo. Men gen gom je goi song ba xin. Men an teren goi jen be lai ma la. Yen do so wan de ben gom chen Kun te mo te ba yin che je korlo kordo korwa chi se ma dong bara nyang ye men dan tu je ja zui jin wa ye sim je nam lai si su su da ye su naim chi sa ban tham je jang jo jong jo rimbo don do wa ye Tembe bang don da jo je te dra je je sun da be ha ben go le ze de man da le nai tu shi xin de wai jin je xin nong ju je de le ngang sim Chere se wang ko son tu nan da rin do yer men jo ma nem be me ho ma nem be me ma nem be me ma nem be Hoi manem ben me 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 Money, but me, hoy, money, but hoy, money, but me, hoy, money, but me, hoy, money, but me, hoy, money, but me. Hoi manem ban me 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 Manem ban me hoi 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 manem ban me Karma bayin den bayin jungnaim lai sami shangayin dizi nganchoyin Tormayin zaji benza amrin dayin zagi radayin jam chubashi Tingada Chenji yinden zomban den nizon jishen doben gozonji Deba malim bayin debrayin chulan deden sovayin doban Dazoin kon lain chodain demoin jen Udon den doin dila hawain Kemrain serin nimen banjiroin yila Tumne bayin jebayin gwen dagi mali nyurdoin duban Karma bayin delan nijenain dagi talvay shindoy lobayin Ninduen zaldoe zoen dendrain cheden deben gewandi Manjurun dovay simjen damje goen zame sanjen goban toljure ngoen Danin chewan tamjen dolamay mijen Idam durjen aljuruman chejung durje Namya yermen govay shu Yemay hoy ngozray sanje nawan tay Dai sun jo en tunjen chembo en dai Indo sembo en tujen tom naim lai Sanje jansem ba men korgin kor Tenje zan bando men bai de wai jenshen jawe shingaim de Da jin de nen zeben jurmain da che wai shin je barmain che bai Deru jene na de shal doi shoi de gen da ge amalaim da bai de Chojo sanje jansen dam je ge men elan do Deya entaim benzam deya awan buddha na yeso choden jawai se jengoin sonyen zola jeye rain dagen de zoin gezain boin kunjo sum loin che boin Javen dembai benjroin jen ge wai sim jen gon lai ngoin dogen san jen dom jroin jen ge zoin dom jen jen Hai ge ju lai min jroin jen dim nyen dan nyen son zoin den seren ne men nyam doin be Sendere sajoy ninjoy jik Sembe enjurma enda ende wai jendoy genjuroy jik Gene be mai kaje de eluden de lai sanje sho Chanjo endom nenjisendo Go and by show nine day and time jessing by Tom nenye ben nine pine Gai nói chiêm bỏ lại trụ bài Sim bên so lên đồ vайн đụng Ai shuin chan jo sem ne